Hello everybody out there, I'm Chris.
Mike.
And welcome back to another Dark Avenger comic book countdown, review, what have you. Once 300 hits, we all know where we're going from here. Unfortunately, this is a very late episode, and it's, again, apologies from us. It's been a hectic schedule, and honestly, I've already started reading next week's books. We're already heading into Convergence. It's just been a really hectic week. I'm on spring break. Mike's work schedule literally just eased up,
Thank God.
I believe, yesterday. So things hopefully will be back on track. I don't want to jinx us for next week. And so let's say they'll hopefully be on track and hope for the best. We got a lot of books this week. This week the books were released on
April 1st, 2015, first week of April.
And before we get into the physical books, there are a bunch of digital books. So
Which
Mike, I hate to do this, but Mike's going to be getting up to show the covers and everything. I believe I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 digital books. So obviously it's a countdown, but at the same time I don't want Mike to get up and then down and then up and then down. So we're going to put the digital books first. And to start off the digital book, Cyclops issue 12. I'm going to graze this ever so shortly because basically this is a continuation of Black Vortex. Just like Nova, it focuses on Cyclops and the Black Vortex, only it's done worse. I did not enjoy the artwork, and to be honest, this is a story that I don't feel like it's very important. If you're collecting all of Black Vortex, obviously you're going to want to pick this up, but at this point I really, again, this is why I read it digitally and I didn't get a physical copy, because I'm not really a fan of the Cyclops series. And Cyclops' father shows up, and it turns out it's all in his head. It was, I don't know, it was an okay issue, but not my favorite digital book. Next, we have Star Wars, I want to say his name right, Kanan, The Last Padwan, issue number 1. And for those of you that are watching Star Wars Rebel, you'll know this character from me. I don't know this character, and that's why I got this book digitally. It's basically him as a Padwan, and it's during the Clone Wars, and you get a little bit more insight on this character. And the ending of the issue is where the Emperor gives Order 66, which is where the rebels, the clone troopers turned on the Jedi. So it's going to be really interesting to see the next issue. Do you have to read Star Wars Rebel, watch Star Wars Rebels to be into this series? I feel like you'll know the character a little bit more, but as a first-time reader of this character, I felt like I was introduced pretty well to the character, and I'm enjoying it. So I'll definitely be coming back for the next issue, of course digitally, but I'll be coming back. All right, next we have Batman and Robin Annual number 3. Out of all the annuals this week, this was the weakest one. The story is just a generic story. The artwork was okay. All in all, though, it was just another Batman and Robin story. It was a nice way to end the Batman and Robin series. Because when we come back from Convergence, I believe Batman and Robin is not coming back. To my knowledge, at least. I believe Batman and Robin is canceled, but a nice swan song for the series. Next we have Sinestro Annual number 1. This is continuing from the previous issue of Sinestro. Sinestro now owns War World. We get a couple of origins in there. We get Lisa Dark, we get Arkillo, we get, I forgot that other guy's name, but one of the newer Sinestro Corps members. And it turns out somebody is betraying the Sinestro Corps, and through all these origins at the very end, Sinestro knows who's betraying them, and it's to be continued obviously in June. Another book that's connected to the main series is just pushing the story a little bit further along before its conclusion. We're going to have 2 months of Convergence, so we're not going to be seeing Sinestro, or at least the Sinestro Corps book, for the next 2 months. But we all know Sinestro's coming back. No, we got 2 more, sorry. Next is Teen Titans Annual number 1 for the new volume. I really enjoyed this issue. Superboy is back. You see a lot of stuff going on where Cassie doesn't trust Superboy. Superboy is claimed to have killed these people, and he knows he didn't do it. John Jones is in there, and it's just this huge fight. There's a new costume for Superboy, and obviously, again, it's to be continued in Teen Titans after Convergence. It was an enjoyable issue. I really enjoyed it. I like anything that doesn't have to do with Star Labs. Star Labs bores the heck out of me, but for the rest of the issue, it was really interesting. And I like the direction where Teen Titans are going. Manchester Black's another kind of like, because I remember when they introduced Manchester Black in Superman and didn't like that character too much then, don't like him now, but still really enjoyed the issue. Looking forward to Superboy being back with the Teen Titans. I'll probably be picking Teen Titans up physically after Convergence. Now finally, the Uncanny Inhumans issue number 0. This was an excellent issue. But for $5, I have to agree with Mike Spider-Slayer. I would have rather have had a huge story instead of a story and then a side story. It's all about Black Bolt. I'm a fan of Black Bolt through New Avengers. And obviously Black Bolt knows that bad stuff's going on because this is all leading into Battleworld, and Uncanny Inhumans will be moving into Battleworld. There you go. Thank you, Michael. And it's all about father and son, and I love how the artwork in this book is excellent, the story in this book was excellent, and the ending definitely leaves me wanting more, where Black Bolt finds his son. You know, he sacrificed his son so long ago, but now he sees the world's ending, so now he goes back for his son. And that's where it kind of concludes. The secondary story is not even worth talking about. Again, it's just in there probably to be in there to bring the price tag up for Uncanny Inhumans. But I'm definitely hooked on Inhumans, and I'm looking forward to Inhumans issue number 1. However, Uncanny Inhumans I think I will keep as a digital series more than a physical series until I'm absolutely sure that this is a series I'm going to want to dedicate myself to.
Okay, so now you got top 10 books. I only have one for this week.
Well, yeah, sort of, okay.
Well, I'm just saying.
The weakest book, however, the worst book, my worst book of the week, has to go to Future's End issue number 48. It went full circle. Nothing happened. It's 49, because you got to count the 0 issue from free... I'm sorry, I have something in my throat. From Free Comic Book Day. But it was 49 issues of absolutely nothing, and it doesn't even lead into Convergence. It leads into... Yeah, that would be nice. It leads into Batman Beyond. Only it's not going to be Terry McGinnis Batman Beyond. It's going to be Tim Drake Batman Beyond. Terry died, and Tim Drake has now assumed his role as Batman in the Beyond future, where all hell is basically broken loose and the world is nearly gone. I don't know, but I feel like if I could go back in time, the one thing I would do is prevent myself from buying Future's End, because we originally all bought Future's End because it was supposed to lead into Convergence. That was a lie. It leads into nothing. It leads into Batman Beyond. So it's a 49-issue glorified intro to the new status quo of Batman Beyond.
Wow, that's really...
So out of all the weeklies, this was the big waste. This was the big waste of your time right here. A book, however, that does lead into Convergence is World's End 26. But again, there were points in this book where it got boring. There were points where, I mean, how many times can you say we're doomed? We knew Earth 2 was doomed from the first issue, but they kept bringing it up over and over and over again. And there were times where nothing happened in the issues. Absolutely nothing. And then it ends where we all figured it out. Apocalypse engulfed Earth 2 and Darkseid 1. The refugees are heading for Earth 1 because that's what happened in Future's End. And some of the other characters were trapped on Earth 2. Or were they? To be continued, obviously, in Convergence issue number 1. The strongest, and it comes to no surprise, but the strongest weekly, and the only one that's the most important, unless you're a fan of Earth 2, such as myself, then World's End was. But the only other important one, if you are a fan of Batman, was Batman Eternal issue 52. It had a definitive end game. It turned out it was Lincoln who was behind everything. You have Batman being Batman. You have he finally broke free. The Calculator, or whatever his name was, he ended up losing. You got that epic fight at the end. Catwoman's become the full Kingpin. There was really good moments with Spoiler and Harper in here, and you just have the whole Bat family finally together, and they unite to fight against anyone who opposes Batman and Gotham. So it ends on a positive note. Jason Bard ends on a positive note. The Batcave, the Arkham disaster site wraps up. Gordon wraps up. Everything wraps up really nicely. Even Tim and Spoiler have a little kind of moment. And then you got the Court of Owls, which give Lincoln his final, well, we'll leave it for you guys, but the epilogue where Batman is Batman and all is basically right in Gotham again. I liked it. This was the best weekly, like I said. Out of all the weeklies this week, this was a good weekly. However, this series had ups, downs, in and outs, but at least it ended the way we were hoping, on a positive note. And obviously Batman Endgame is finishing off the whole status quo of Batman. However, I guess we're going to have to wait for that because we haven't seen Batman yet. Batman Endgame's final.
Yeah, that one.
Amazing Spider-Man 17. Ghost goes to sabotage Pete's jail. So this way the other corporation can come in and Alchemax can come in and what do you call it? Take the contract. Well, Alchemax goes to Black Cat, who then sends Ghost in, or they send Ghost in. And I hate Sajani. I really could care less if her character dies because she's such a bitch. I'm sorry to use that language, but she is such a bitch. The best story, though, I have to agree with Cap from the live show again, was the secondary story with Black Cat. The first story, this was a very boring issue. I didn't like the Anna Marie Spider-Man moments in this book, and I don't know. I just did not enjoy this issue of Spider-Man. Hopefully things will pick up in the next issue. Spider-Gwen issue 3, we get to see the Punisher in Spider-Gwen's universe finally. And Gwen is trying to have this moment with her father, and then Vulture shows up, and this big fight ensues between Gwen, Punisher, and Vulture. It was a really good fight. Really nice artwork. I want to like this book, but something inside of me is holding me back, I think. I don't know why. Maybe after we get the whole Peter Parker story, that'll change. But for right now, it's just Gwen has to cope with what happened and deal with it, because she's still having problems accepting, that it wasn't her fault about Pete's death.
What about the Punisher and the other?
I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Vulture.
Punisher escaped. Punisher ran off.
Wow. I thought maybe the Vulture would.
Or he sort of ran off. Let me leave it at that.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean.
And Vulture gets captured. And then we get to see Ben Parker. Ben Parker actually shows up. And we find out what happened with Aunt May. Which was interesting. Anyway, it was a nice issue, but again, I'm trying to like Spider-Gwen. I'm going to get the next issue, obviously, but it's an interesting series. It's not the worst series. I'm enjoying it. I don't know. There's just something holding me back from liking it, and I don't know what. And maybe that'll change as time moves forward, but it was still an enjoyable read. Definitely something I'd recommend you guys try at least. Empire of the Dead, Act 3, Issue 1. We are now in Act 3. I believe this is the final act of Empire of the Dead. Xander survived the gunshot from the previous act, and she's healing at a rapid rate, and Paul thinks that she's some type of a half-breed between vampire and zombie, which is very interesting. Paul also finds out about where all the kids are going, and it turns out it's at that, as they call it, vegetable farm. So Paul's trying to formulate a plan to save Joe. Xander's completely healed. So I guess the main focal point, and there are scenes with the mayor as well. You just learn to really hate the mayor, I will say that. But Xander's character is definitely a character that's going to be a very huge point of interest in this act. And I'm really interested in seeing where things go. And I like how Paul and Penny are kind of talking about more openly about vampires, and we still don't know what Paul is exactly. So his whole background is still up in the air. And like I said, it ends with Xander what is Xander? I want to make sure I'm saying her name right now, because I feel like I'm Xavier. Sorry, Xavier, not Xander. Xavier. possibly being the next hybrid or a new type of breed between zombie and vampire, which is very interesting, and it works with Empire of the Dead because the focal point of Act 1 was the vampires taking over in this apocalyptic world with zombies, and then Act 2 focused on the mayor and other supporting characters, focused on Paul a little bit, focused on the mayor trying to bring Penny over to him, sort of. And it did still focus on Xander and the zombies still being in there somewhere. Act 1, I think, focused more on the zombies still having some type of a cognitive pattern. They're not all mindless, brains zombies. And now Act 3, I think, is going to be more along the lines of finding out more about Xavier, which really is interesting. Alright, next we have Wonder Woman issue number 40. I'm really loving the artwork in this book, I will say that. There was a minor fight between Donna and Diana at the beginning, but Diana actually gets pulled away. There's a scene with her and the Justice League again. I like that the Justice League makes... this definitely was I want to point this out. This looks like a little nod to the first Superman movie with Christopher Reeves, where Superman saves the bus of kids. See, this part, that part, and this part, all of this looks just like the Superman movie, where he saved the bus and you see him flying in. There's some ramifications to the Firstborn, and then the ending has Donna Troy attacking. I feel like I can talk about this because this is already a week late. Attacking the men that are on Themyscira, basically erasing all of them from the island and making Themyscira just Amazons again. And now it's going to be very interesting to see Wonder Woman and Donna, face each other. And it's weird how they're more accepting of Donna being made of clay than they were when they believed Diana was made of clay. They used to tease her. I love the little joke in there that they used to tease Diana, but now Donna, it's like she's completely this huge, unique person because of it. Again, really solid issue. I enjoyed it. The whole Firstborn part, though, kind of threw me off because I didn't read Azzarello's run, so I was kind of at a loss for comments at that point. But the artwork I feel is really good in this book, and the story itself, I can't wait to see where we go with Donna. Now we're in the annuals, I believe, all the way up till, yes, 2 more annuals. First we got the Batman Superman annual, issue number 2. Superman uses that stupid Nova, did I say stupid? Supernova power of his and becomes normal for a time. And again, this focuses on, guess who? The Phantom King. Didn't we just see the Phantom King in Superman Batman? Yes, we did, but apparently they don't care. They want to keep us focused on the Phantom King. So, Phantom King has now reached into people's minds on Earth. Clark is now normal for a time because he used this supernova power. And now all of Batman's rogues, or a group of Batman's rogues, under the influence of the Phantom King, are after Clark Kent, who is now completely normal. And it's up to Batman to protect Clark. And Clark is, like I said, completely normal, and he has to protect the civilians who are being attacked by these supervillains. And long story short, it seems like all is going well until the big twist in the last page, which, guess what, is to be continued in June when everything changes. But let's just say the ending to this book, things look very dark for Clark. And Clark did not get his powers back yet. So, this book kind of ends on a dark note. However, the story itself, I don't know. This is definitely going to be a forgettable story, especially because they're going to be redoing the Trinity characters anyway.
What Trinity characters?
Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman.
Oh, they were talking about the other Trinity.
I don't know where they're going to go with the Batman Superman series. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But I guess that the ending to this book, where I'm going to spoil it, Clark gets stabbed and it looks like he's going to die. Obviously, that's going to be either undone or they're going to move forward and he's going to somehow get his powers back before he dies. Obviously, Superman's not going to die. So it's kind of a fruitless ending. And then we have the Superman Wonder Woman annual, which ends the story arc that was going on in Superman Wonder Woman, where Circa kind of had control over Superman, and Wonder Woman was, they got into a minor fight in the very beginning, and then Wonder Woman ends up running off to fight Magog, and you have Superman kind of fighting Circe's control, or Circe, however you pronounce the name. Then it turns out Wonder Woman's lasso somehow miraculously saves Superman. He breaks free of her control, and they both take out Magog. And then it ends with Wonder Woman trying to be like Clark. And then in June, can the couple handle the truth? This really felt like a standard size issue, to be quite honest. I want to make sure that it...
It's issue 17.
Oh, it is issue 17.
Yes,
My bad, it wasn't an annual.
It wasn't an annual. Yeah, I was like saying, wait a minute.
Yeah, I was wondering why it really felt... I don't know why. Somebody told me it was the annual. I said it was issue 17, and it says right here. So it concludes the story arc that's going on in Superman, Wonder Woman, and now we have to wait and see after Convergence how this whole relationship is going to go.
So that's going to be interesting.
Very interesting, but I love the covers. I love the movie covers they did this month, but it was a nice issue. I enjoyed it. It ended on a really nice note, but now let's see what's going to happen, like I said, after Convergence. Not an annual, everybody. It's issue number 17. I don't know why I thought it was an annual. I guess because it was annual week.
And plus the white background, too. Probably that.
I was thrown off by the movie cover, to be honest.
That, too. And finally, my book, The Punisher, issue number 17. The showdown between the Punisher and Sam Wilson, Captain America. The fight was... It was an okay fight. I mean, they take it out with each other at Washington, D.C. with Frank Castle, who is, like, low on weapons. And Captain America is just saying, you know... Like, I'm taking you in one way or another to answer for your crimes. And Frank Castle said, you're just going to have to try to, you know, beat the holy hell out of me to do that. So then he says, look, I want to tell the truth, and you could hear the truth of what I want to tell you, or you could just kill me plain simple with the grenade. And Sam Wilson, of course, being the good guy, doesn't do that and lets Frank Castle go after he gives him the recorder to hear the truth. And... Frank Castle gets leads on where Del Sol is, going to the south of the border, and of course in the end he captures him and now is going to make an example out of Del Sol, which it's about time, because after he's been making him a wanted vigilante and everything of what Del Sol's been behind, not the Punisher, then yeah, so that was really something, and it's going to be awesome.
And now that we're done with all the DC New 52 books, and the New 52 will be gone by the time June comes, let's start with Convergence. Convergence issue number 0, a $5 book where the New 52 Superman, after the events of Superman Doomed, is traveling through time. And he ends up landing on some type of a strange planet. And it turns out he gets captured by Brainiac. It's a very heavy dialogue book, so be ready for it, but... We actually see the beginning. We get to see Superman through several times. I want to see. Did I miss the page? I might have accidentally. This page has been everywhere. We see Superman through several times, and you have Brainiac talking about, or we think it's Brainiac anyway, talking about several different realities. And then we kind of get introduced to the living planet. We get introduced to... several Brainiacs. I love the artwork in this book.
Oh,
and
yeah,
we get introduced to several Metropolises.
Yeah, I forgot to mention artwork was really good in The Punisher if I didn't mention it. Sorry, go ahead.
And the best part of this book, after everything Superman went through in this series, he gets exiled from the planet because where was it? He has no city and he didn't belong. So basically, the New 52 is not going to be a part of Convergence at all. There is no part of the New 52 universe in there, and that's why they kind of threw Superman away. And then we get the big introduction to Gotham, which is underneath a dome. And we get introduced to this character, and we won't get his name till issue 1, which I know what the name is, and all of you know what the name of this character is already, because you probably all read issue 1 by now, or by the time this goes up. But I like the... back and forth between Superman and Brainiac. I have to agree with Jay, though. Every event that's gone on in DC lately, since Flashpoint, is Brainiac, surrounding Brainiac, except for Darkseid, which was the beginning of the Justice League book. Is this worth your $5? I'll tell you guys the truth. The variant cover absolutely is. I love Tony S. Daniels' variant cover, which has all the Supermen from all different parts of the multiverse. I will be getting a lot of the Tony S. Daniel variants. I believe issue number 1 I'm getting is Tony S. Daniel, and I know for a fact that issue 2 will be the variant also. But all in all, it's a nice setup for Convergence. I like that this was very Superman Brainiac. This was a very Superman-centric book. And if you're not a fan of Superman, you might not like this book. Did you have to have issue 0? No. You don't need to read issue 0. You can go into Convergence from issue 1 and you'll be fine. Believe me, I've read issue 1 already. You can jump into that and you'll be fine. Issue 0 is kind of more of a setup, and it kind of introduces and boots out the New 52 Superman from the event, at least for now. I mean, we don't know. Maybe the New 52 will show up towards the end of this event. We don't know. It's 8 issues long, 9 if you count issue 0. So, again, I really enjoyed the intro, and I like the Superman Brainiac back and forth, and the artwork in this book's really excellent. And with that, that is the very abbreviated Dark Avenger comic review for this week. Apologies, hopefully we'll get back on track starting with this coming week's books, which came out today, actually. So until we get those books and until the next review, guys, don't forget to check out Comic Related, Comic Frontline, Zone 4 Podcast, and Frontline Gaming Zone. Together we are your #1 source for comic-related news, reviews, and a whole bunch more. Feel free to leave comments below about any book we talked about here. Your thoughts, whether you agree or disagree with us, let us know. And until next time, take care. Keep reading, keep collecting, and we'll see you guys in the next review.
Later, everybody.